Hi, everyone. So, welcome to my channel. We call this channel Demystifying Spirituality. And we are here to have a spiritually conscious conversation and just see what wisdom nuggets we can gain talking about our lives and our experiences. So, this is Ren. If you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, everyone. I am Ren. I go by the handle mother__Ren. And I have been on my spiritual journey now for, probably like 5, 6 years. And my motto is I'm helping bridge the gap between this old earth and new earth, the old systems and the new ways of living. I am mastering the matrix through love and discernment is another motto that I use too. I'm a homesteader. I live on an acre and a half of land and have been trying to be as self-sustaining as possible, have some chickens and more animals on the way. And so I've just been embracing this lifestyle of living with the land and trusting intuition.
I love that. So I found you on TikTok, I think right when you just had moved out there.
Yeah.
But no, right before actually. And so I remember seeing you saying you were, moving off grid, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. Cause I was in Long Beach at the time, and I'm like, oh, we're even in similar places doing similar things. I love it. You're so inspiring. It's been so inspiring to see you working in the real world, like with a regular job, and also like being off grid and having chickens, and like it's incredible.
It is kind of like one foot in, one foot out. I feel like I'm straddling like both lives at time, but I also feel like that's part of my purpose is to show others that, like it's like Neo in the Matrix, right? Like he's still in the Matrix, but he's able to manipulate it or play along because he knows that he's in it. And so that's kind of been like how I've been playing with life lately. And I have to say, like, I'm super inspired by your story too, because you went out on a limb and just left, your apartment, you had all these animals and you've been like living on the road and manifesting places to stay and people. So to say ditto, it's been a really cool spiritual journey that we've gotten to share with each other.
Yeah, seriously. And that's kind of my goal with these chats, is to like bring us together so we can all kind of share like, hey, what are you working on right now? And we can all kind of help each other. I know that I saw today on your TikTok, you posted that you're co-hosting a retreat in September. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So it has been a vision of mine for a long time to host retreats like around the world. I've seen visions of it. And when I met my partner, he shared that same vision. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's cool. It's like a parallel goal. And so we've been talking about it. And as you know, like with divine timing, it's like you force something to happen and then it doesn't, it falls through. And so it just so happened where we came across this property that's around the corner from us. It is gorgeous. It's like a retreat resort. They have all these like earth dome houses and stuff. And we just like fell in love with the property. And then at the same time, I was going through a lot of healing of my feminine and masculine wounds. So growing up in corporate America, it's a lot of the masculine energy, the go, 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 deadlines, keep moving forward, this linear fashion of growth and productivity. And I started to burn out. Like I was developing issues in my body. I just did not know how to even slow down or like what to do. I had done all the spiritual shadow work, but there's this big like glaring, not issue, but just like work that needed to be done. And so I made a TikTok video about it. I was like, I'm masculine burnt out. Like I've done it all. I've flown way too close to the sun. I've made a name for myself in my career and I've accumulated this wealth, but I am like, my soul is exhausted. And so like you were saying prior to this call, like calling out for the people, not just money, but just for like meeting the right people. I kind of sent out a call of like, I need help. I need a coach. I need something. And I came across this woman. She actually commented on that video, and her name is Jessie Bax, and she's a feminine embodiment coach. And so she's gone through something similar of healing her masculine and then healing her feminine and then coming together and being able to balance the two. And so I started taking her workshops and working with her. And I was like, do you want to co-host a retreat? Like, I've been trying to find, like the inspiration or what type of retreat I want to do. And I think this is what the collective needs right now. It's just like, how do we balance both? Like, how do we sit back and receive and allow the feminine to work and do its thing and just be in a place of like receiving abundance, but then also meeting the universe halfway in a very kind of like masculine energy? How do we become passionately productive? It's like all of that, right? The dance between the two. And so this retreat, it is September 21st through the 24th. And the first full day will be all about like diving into divine feminine and what those like goddess archetypes are, what it really means to give self-love and self-intimacy, and even tapping into like your own sensuality and basically like reclaiming back that divine feminine essence that's in all of us, men included, and then also pairing that with the masculine. How do you balance it? And doing a lot of healing and just like inner reflection work. There's going to be mirror work, intuitive dance, intuitive games. And then the second full day is all like energy healing and fun stuff. So we're doing like crystal grid activation. So sitting in a crystal grid, energy clearings. There's a past life, like clearing and integration piece, sound baths. So we got a lot on the agenda. It's going to be a really fun time. And yeah, it's in Lake Elsinore, California. So I can give my like deets at the end if people want to learn more, but that's kind of high level what we're doing. And I'm super excited to be kicking this off.
That is high level for sure. Yeah. And we will put the link in the description for people if they want to check it out. That is so beautiful and absolutely needed at this time. It's funny because I'm also co-hosting a retreat, but it's a virtual retreat. So I think it's perfect for us to both talk about this, because then if people, some people aren't able to get away, they're not able to physically go somewhere. So I'm hoping mine is also much sooner. Mine's July 21st.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's funny, July and September 21st. So I want to segue and talk about this. So funny because it's so similar. It's called Wild Woman Within, and it's going to be a 3-week virtual retreat. So it's every Friday. So it's going to be 3 Fridays. And similar, we are going to be using somatic movement. We're going to be using dance. We're going to be doing some like sexual trauma healing and releasing. That'll be the 3rd day. That'll be the last at the end, because we're going to start out more gentle with the healing and diving into the feminine and what is the feminine. Very
lay the foundation, right?
Very similar concept. Yeah. So we're calling this an empowerment event. It's an higher self integration event. Nice. So for anyone who's ready to let those old parts of themselves die and really step into that full divinity that is you, that blended. Yeah. So and then
very parallel. That's so cool.
So parallel.
Let's see what the collective needs.
Yeah, we're going to be doing I think maybe something a little different with coaching people on how to create their own affirmations. That's something I'm really excited about, because sometimes it can be hard to know even what to say or what to write. Yeah. So we're going to be helping identify those limiting beliefs so that you can create a specific mantra, specific affirmation. And then we're hoping by the end of this 3 weeks that you're transformed and you have new habits in place, so that you can carry those out. And then we have like a few weeks of integration tools. So we're going to be sending like activation videos and more tools after the retreat as well. So very excited about that. Yeah. That's so interesting too, because the looking at I'm like, how do I say this? It's almost like harnessing the shadow. Mm-hmm. So diving in, not being afraid of the shadow, like not feeling like we have to push it away or heal from it, but rather feel it, right? Feel into it. So I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now that was actually recommended by Jesse, my coach. It's called The Existential Kink. And it talks about how we're drawn like in a kinky way to our shadows. That's why people keep getting in toxic relationships, because there's a piece of us that actually likes the rush. Of being in a toxic relationship, the yelling, the screaming, whatever toxic behavior. And we're drawn to it, but unconsciously. So the unconscious keeps running the show and keeps attracting more of the same, because you're kind of telling the universe like, oh, I like this. Like this actually kind of like turns me on a little, like
Right.
It ends up being like a kink, right? In a way where you're not even conscious of it. And so the whole point of the book is to become aware of your shadows, of these like shadow kinks that you have, so that they no longer run the show, and that you actually feel into them and say, like when I'm in this toxic relationship, it actually gives me kind of like anxious butterflies in my stomach. Like, oh, that's what that feels like, and you start actually bringing awareness to your body, into the feelings. And that way it kind of like disappears. You don't have to keep running that old story. So it's going to be a great read.
That sounds like an amazing book, because that's exactly what like we're talking about here in transmuting that energy, is connecting it to the body, right? Like connecting that link, like, oh, the body is doing this because of this energetic reason, this belief. It can be hard sometimes to find those links, but that's why when we use movement, movement removes the energy, right? When we move our body, we move the energy, and then it's like it releases, it allows that trigger, that wound to be felt, right? To come to the surface. So that's why movement is such an important piece, and we're both incorporating that into our events, which is great.
Yeah. And I've been, like I'm a student as I'm putting on this retreat. Like I've been learning as I go. And I think that's like a interesting way and a good way to approach life, is like you're never in a mastery spot. And so I've been incorporating the somatic movement into my day-to-day, because I wasn't doing that before. And I've noticed even like in the past month, I've been slacking on working out. And even that has had an impact on like my mental health and just like my mood and everything. So it's really rang clear to me in this past like month or two that I need to move my body like on a daily basis, or it kind of like it's a domino effect, like everything starts to fall.
Absolutely. I was actually just talking about this yesterday, how we have, especially many of us higher dimensional souls that come down into this 3D, right? Like we volunteered. A lot of us have more fire than we burn in a day. And so if you don't burn out all the fire, then it accumulates and causes illness in the body. I want to touch on something you just said. You just said we're never in a mastery state. So I agree that we are all students and teachers all the time, right? Like no matter how much of a master, because I believe that you as a soul are a master in certain aspects, certain categories, but it's about like learning how to embody that master in this physical body, right? Like how to
hard part.
how to like be the master again, because you've done it, you've done it before. I've done it before. It's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, I've made some skits about that too, just like reincarnating and being like, what is this game? Like I know everything and then I have to forget it all and then remember,
Exactly.
That's the fun of it. It's like, I've thought about it recently, especially with people who are psychic and stuff, which you probably are as well. Or I guess we're all psychic to a certain degree. But like even psychics don't know everything about their lives, or there's some information that's guarded. And it really clicked for me. Like if we knew it all, it wouldn't like pan out the way it's meant to. You wouldn't be able to have that growth, because you just have the knowing of like what's next. And you may not have taken the same risks or I guess experience different things had you had the cheat sheet. So I've just
Totally.
kind of been embracing like just listening to intuition and not prying so hard at like, what do I need to know? What do I need to do next? It's like, just kind of look for the signs and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah. It's like what feels aligned, like right now, today, right now, this
Yes.
moment, like what feels aligned, what's going to make me feel joyful and,
Yeah.
yeah, if
Yes.
it would ruin and it would, I say this a lot, like I love surprises, I
Yeah.
love
Me
surprises.
too.
Why would I want to come here knowing, even if you do know the end, you don't know all the stuff in the middle,
Yeah.
you don't know how it's gonna happen, and that's the exciting part. If
Yeah.
you can let go of that anxiety of I need to know, right? Just let that go. You don't need to know. You
Yeah.
don't actually need to know anything to be here, to exist
No.
exist and know nothing and still exist and have a great life. I mean,
Look at little kids, it's like they don't
yeah,
have any of the programming, they don't know how this world works, but they're in states of joy and they're just playing.
playing,
Yeah.
creating. Yeah.
Yeah. Making
Yep.
art, making friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still available to us as adults. It's just like society just tells us that we can't or we shouldn't, or yeah, that's why I'm excited my partner and I have agreed to homeschool our children once we have them.
Hmm.
And I'm really excited for the opportunity to get to experience the world outside of public education, outside of like the systems and stuff, and have like little feral children, and just like see the world through their eyes without the conditioning or, with less conditioning and less programming.
They're gonna kind of be your teachers a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
I've noticed that a lot of these young kids are just so old, and they're coming in already awake, aware, activated, because they're not, like you said, with these new wave of parents, we're not all indoctrinating and programming them the way that we were. So it's incredible. I saw this video on TikTok the other day of this girl. She was probably like 4 years old, and she was like, Daddy, this is why God sent me you and Isaac, because we're here to teach you how to treat the kids better.
Wow.
Because she's the
Oh, I got
youngest.
chills when you said
Yeah,
that.
she's like the youngest sibling and has older siblings. And she was like, so she knew exactly what she was saying. Like it was
Yeah.
obvious that no one was coaching her to say that, So these kids they know what's up. They know
Yeah.
why they're here.
Have you seen the videos of kids talking about their past lives too, in like great detail? And you're like,
Yeah.
wow, the veil,
Yeah.
like they don't have even the same like shroud of forgetfulness that we were born with.
Yeah. It's incredible. Do you follow or do you know about Seven? She does the
Yes.
language. Yeah. So I've worked with her a little bit. We're kind of connected a little bit. We were gonna start anyway. We've kind of went this way for a while, but I think we're gonna come back,
Yeah. How life goes.
Yeah. And so those light codes. So light language is so everyone can have it. Everyone can do it. It's just the language of our souls, right? And I love talking about it because a lot of the healing work I do, a lot of the activations I do, a lot of my own healing work for myself, since I was like 19 when I first received the gift of my own light language. Ever since then, I've used it as a tool, and I keep talking about it because I want everyone to know that they have this tool at their disposal. It's an incredibly powerful transmutation tool, especially when you're neurodivergent and you get overwhelmed and you can't speak, or you can't get the words out. Sometimes if you can just say, hey, what if I just spoke in my soul language? Just tell your brain, I want to speak in my soul language, and then just see what comes out.
Wow.
Because it can be, are you neurodivergent?
Yes.
Yeah. So you
Majorly.
understand. Yeah, you understand.
Yeah. It gets crazy up here when you don't have an outlet or like a way to release it, and to have something that feels so freeing and also is like healing your cells and your body and just everything, and something that can heal others too, is just really beautiful. Your light language videos have come on, and I like to just close my eyes and I just like receive. Oh, this is refreshing on TikTok. I should just take this in.
I know, right? It's kind of, I was nervous to kind of post that at first, but I saw other people posting light language and I was like, oh, I guess people are doing this.
Yeah.
I'll join in.
You also follow, I think he goes by Ty L. He's
Yes.
yeah, he's an
Yes.
amazing light linguist too.
Yeah, I love, so what's really interesting about Ty L is he brings a very specific type of light code that's definitely a more divine masculine. And I did a duet one time with his light code videos, and I did like light codes in the background to support. And what I noticed is my light codes were like integrating his light codes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can use light codes with other people, and you can play off each other.
Wow, that's really cool. I've one time attempted, I guess I shouldn't say attempted because when you're doing, you're just doing. But I did light language just in the comfort of my own apartment, because it's like, you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to come out. And it was a really cool experience. And I don't know what happened where I just like didn't keep at it, but like from your experience, how did it become more, I guess, like common or consistent within your life? Was it like you sat kind of just like meditation where you sit with it and you just keep practicing? I don't know if that's the right word.
It is practice. It is, because when you start out, what you're doing is you're channeling.
Yeah.
So at first it depends. It's different for everyone. For me, it started out with like more simple, it sounded more simple, and I would pace around my house, and I would just be like closing my eyes and almost like I was praying, just kind of like speaking out, just whatever comes out, right? And then I would do that just for me for like almost on a daily basis, or every few days, or maybe I'd go a couple weeks without doing it and then do it. But it's one of those things where I would just talk out loud like that to myself just because it made me feel better. I didn't know what the words meant. I started out doing it not knowing what any of it meant. I just was doing it.
Yeah.
And then over the years, when I let go of the programming of the church saying you have to have a translator, then I was like, oh, well, maybe I can just translate these messages myself. Like maybe I can get the English translation and and then it just developed. It developed. And now it's insane. I mean, now I do the written codes. I do written ones. Now my hands do the codes and my voice, speaking them, and I can do different dialects. So I tune into the frequency of the person that I'm assisting or doing a session for, and I just channel whatever the dialect that resonates with their soul, like their frequency.
That is so freaking cool.
I've been able to speak so many different languages, like it's so crazy. Like I've been able to channel the dragons.
I've seen your videos on that. That is fucking cool. Yeah. I've been getting a lot of like dragon winks lately, and just like seeing them in the clouds, and also dragonflies, which apparently is like a mini dragon totem. And there used to be, I guess, like little mini dragons, and that's where the dragonfly name came from, supposedly, allegedly. I don't know. But
I believe it.
Yeah, I've just had a lot of like dragonflies like land on me lately, and I'm like, okay, all right, let me like tune into the message.
That is a beautiful sign. Wow. It's so funny. I saw 2 dragonflies in the yard this morning, like following each other. And I haven't seen dragonflies in this yard before. Today was the first time. So.
I'm surprised they're surviving out there in the heat.
I know. That's probably why there's not very many of them.
They found like the one little pond or something.
Seriously. Yeah.
So how did you first, well, you mentioned, I wanted to come back to this. You mentioned being in the church, and then now you're, I guess, maybe I don't want to speak for you, but you're more in touch with spirituality than like structured religion. So I'm just curious, I don't know if you've shared this before on your page, but like, what can you talk about that and what that like awakening was like? and how you
Yeah.
ended up here?
Yeah, I haven't really talked about it that much on this channel, so that's perfect. It's a great question. So I was born pretty awake, but I also had a little bit of a hero mentality. So I stayed in the church because I thought I could change it from within
Yeah.
and show everyone the truth. And then when I was 21, I turned 21. I went out for drinks on my birthday. Some stuff got posted on Facebook. I got in trouble with my pastors, and they put me on a 3-month leave
Oh, geez.
um, from all of my like duties. Like I was leading small groups, I was creating my own classes, my own content, I was leading the worship team on stage. I was very heavily involved because I had gone the last 2 years right after high school. I was in an internship to be a pastor. So I was like,
Oh, wow, you're on the track. Yeah.
yes, I was in it. So I think that's why I got kicked out of the church,
Mhm.
because the divine plan knew that I needed a push,
Yep.
because I knew there was more out there, and I had so much shame and so much. I was so repressed and restricted, and I knew it, and I felt it, and I wanted to be free. So I was like, all right, 3 month leave, peace, but I'm out. I'll just never come back, and I basically made a contract with myself in that moment that I was going to throw out the rule book.
Hmm.
So I let go of all of the right, wrong, black, white, and I was like, I can do whatever I want. And that was like really hard for me. Even though I was doing what I wanted, I still kept feeling those triggers for years of like
Yeah.
shame, or you shouldn't be doing this, or God's going to smite you, or whatever.
Programs running still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
programming. So it took me like the last 5 to 10 years to unprogram and reprogram myself.
Um,
Um, I guess it started with, I want to say, I got into quantum physics and sacred
cool.
geometry because I was like, how is this earth actually created if some big man in the sky didn't like say.
Yeah.
But then I started to see how the things in the Bible were describing the process of creation as a story, but if you looked at it from the point of quantum physics, it actually makes sense and it comes together.
Yeah.
It's being misinterpreted. So yeah, just truth seeking for the last decade, just been truth seeking and layering all the knowledge, the astrology, the numerology, the
Mhm.
all of it, the auric field and the chakras. And I also took a massage therapy. Well, I went to school to be a holistic health practitioner. So it was like massage therapy, Reiki, Chinese medicine, a lot of different things. So yeah, it's been a long journey. And I will say that it was very painful
Yeah.
leaving the church. I knew no one outside of the church. I was completely alone. Um, yeah. So finding people like you, TikTok, I've been on there for the last 2 years, and this is the first time in my spiritual journey since leaving the church that I found a community.
Yeah.
So it's just been so fun. That's why I'm doing these kind of chats, because it's like, hey, oh my God, we've all come from these different backgrounds, but now we're all at this same, path of spirituality. So how the hell did you get here? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And it's like a prism, right? Like we all have these different facets, but when light shines through, it's like makes a rainbow. We're able to understand more of ourselves, more of the universe, more of each other by connecting. And like we realize that we're not all so different. It's like we might come from different backgrounds or have different niches and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like we're all healing. We're all, like we said earlier, like still the student and still the master in some areas. And yeah, I really love what you're doing because we're able to meet each other. And when before maybe distance, whatever, different communities, we wouldn't have that opportunity.
Right.
So thank you for hosting me today.
Thank you for being here. I'm sure we'll do this again. as things with you evolve and things with me evolve, there's going to be
Yeah.
new stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I can't, I mean, I feel like you could feel the same. Like, I don't even recognize the person I was like 5 years ago, like my priorities and just my lifestyle. And
Oh, yeah.
now, it's like every day I feel like a different
Oh,
version of
yeah.
myself.
Yeah. And it's funny because we are recording this on the 777 portal. And
Oh,
yeah.
oh my
And
gosh.
today is a day of embodying our divinity. So yay, we're doing it.
Feels aligned. Yeah. And I just want to congratulate you too on all of your growth and your success and launching this retreat. I'm definitely going to tune in for that. Yeah, I'm just really happy. So thank you again.
I'm so grateful you came on my channel. I'm just so honored.
Inspiring me to create my own channel. Like,
yes. I mean, yeah, you have so much amazing content already. Like I can only imagine what you're gonna do, going forward.
long form. I feel like long form is more my my speed anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been noticing too. I'm getting more long-winded lately, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's better to have a platform where we can have actual conversations, and it's not like stop, stop, go.
Yeah. And just with TikTok, it's like everyone's just in the like swipe, and like trying to get that
Yeah,
next hit of dopamine. And it's hard to
totally.
really like
Yeah, I'm an addict. Yeah,
embody what you want to
totally,
say in 60 seconds.
totally. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank
Until
you.
next.